Hey guys, I'm ready to read the next chapter of Runaway Twin, chapter 16. I approached the house slowly, a honeysuckle twined around a trellis near the door, and I paused to inhale the sweet scent. After imagining this moment for so many years, now that it was here, I wanted to savor it. It was really happening at last. I was about to be reunited with Star. My heart beat fast as I rang the doorbell. A girl my age opened it. My eyes swept over her, noting the similarities. She had the same oval face as I have, the same dimple on the left cheek. Her hair was a color mine had been until I dyed it. It was Star. I could barely speak over the lump in my throat. Finally, I managed to whisper, "Hi, Star. I'm Sunny." She raised her eyebrows, looking quizzically. "Who?" she said. "I'm Sunny," I repeated. She still looked blank. "Your twin sister." "You have the wrong house," she replied. "I don't have a sister." And she started to close the door. "Wait," I said. "You were born on April 10th, right? And your mom was killed in a car accident when you were 3. A voice from behind Star said, "Who is it, honey?" "You better come," she said. "It's some girl claiming she's my sister." A blonde woman wearing a blue sweatsuit appeared behind Star, and she gasped when she saw me. Even with my dark hair, I could tell she saw the resemblance. "Are you Becky Anderson?" I asked. "Yes." "I'm Sunny Skyland," I said. "I'm Star's twin sister." "I told her she has the wrong address, that I don't have a sister," Star said. "Tell her, Mom. Maybe she'll listen to you." The woman said, "I'm Star's mother, her adoptive mother. Come in, Sunny. We need to talk." Star gaped as her mother held the door open for me. Mrs. Anderson sat in an overstuffed chair and motioned for me to sit too. I chose the sofa. Star remained standing. "As you can see," Mrs. Anderson said, "this is something of a shock to us." "Mother," Star said, "are you saying I have a sister? I'm a twin?" "Yes," Mrs. Anderson said. "When your mother was killed, you and Sunny were separated. We got you and Sunny went to your grandmother's sister." She looked at me. "Isn't that right?" "Yes," I said. "She didn't keep me, though." "She didn't?" Mrs. Anderson seemed stunned by the news. "But she loved you. She loved both of you. She wept when we signed the document that allowed us to adopt Star. She only did it because she knew she couldn't possibly cope with 2 younger children." "Why didn't you tell me?" Star said, and she looked furious. Instead of being thrilled to find me again, she was angry at her mother for keeping the secret. "Your dad and I did not intend to deceive you," Mrs. Anderson said. "At first, we planned to arrange visits so you girls could remain close. But you never talked about your twin. You never wondered where Sunny was or said you missed her. If you asked about your sister, we would have tried to contact her, but you never once mentioned Sunny. And as the months went by, it seemed better for us not to bring the subject up either. You were happy, you adjusted well, and you did not seem to miss your family or your old life. And we were afraid if we talked about your past, about your mother and your grandma and your sister, it would only stir up your grief." Those words hurt terribly. And during those times, when I cried myself to sleep every night, missing Star, she didn't even ask where I was. Mrs. Anderson continued, "We never heard from your great Aunt Cora, so we assumed she made the same decision about not keeping in touch. And after your adoption was final and your last name was on ours, is the same as ours, we decided to let the past be forgotten." Star sank into her chair, looking shocked. Mrs. Anderson turned to me. "Well, if your great Aunt Cora didn't keep you, Sunny, where have you been?" she asked. "Who raised you?" "Well, first I went to live with her son, but he abandoned me, and I've been in foster home since." Star stared at me as if I'd been living on Mars. "Oh, my," Mrs. Anderson said. "Oh, that's terrible. We wanted both of you. At the time, I said it didn't seem right to separate twins, but everyone felt that you should stay with a blood relative if possible, and Cora swore she wanted one of you, but couldn't handle the both." She stood suddenly and told Star, "I need to call your father." "By all means," Star said. "Let's hear what Daddy's excuse is for not telling me the truth all these years." Mrs. Anderson clamped her lips together, clearly stung by her daughter's words. Then, without replying, she went to the phone and dialed. "Al," she said, "can you come home?" Star's sister just showed up. They talked briefly while I looked at Star and she looked at the floor. "He's on his way," Mrs. Anderson said after she hung up. She returned to her chair. "You say you've been in foster care," she said. "Here in Enumclaw?" "In Nebraska." "Nebraska? You've been living in Nebraska?" "Yes. Great Aunt Cora's son took me when he moved there." "Well, who brought you here?" She looked out the window as if expecting to see a car waiting for me out front. "I came alone. Mostly I took the bus. A cab driver helped me and I walked a lot." "Your foster parents let you take off across the country all by yourself?" I hesitated. Should I tell the truth? I didn't want to begin my new life with Star by telling lies. "My foster mom didn't know where I was going," I said. "She doesn't know about my sister." "You ran away?" Star said. "I had to find you. All these years I've thought about you every day, and when I finally had enough money to travel, I knew I had to look for you." "But how did you know where to look?" Mrs. Anderson asked. "Star has our last name now, and we moved years ago." I handed her the picture. "It says Enumclaw, Washington on the back," I said, "and you can see a house number. And I decided the best way to find Star would be to come to Enumclaw and see if I could find the house that's in the picture. So that's what I did." "I hope so." Charlotte, go over there. I lost my place. This is just like what happens at school, isn't it? "I hope some of the neighbors would remember Mama and Grandma and us, and one neighbor did remember, and she told me your name." "I'll bet it was Mrs. Polson," Mrs. Anderson said. "Connie Polson lives across the street from where you girls used to live. She's a big snoop, always watching everyone in the neighborhood. She lived in that same house for decades." "That's right," I said. "Connie Polson told me to look for Star, and I found your address in the telephone book." "Some old woman knows that I have a twin sister?" Star stood and began pacing around the room. "She knew all this time, but I didn't? She probably told half the town. Everyone knows except for me." But before Mrs. Anderson could answer, a man in a business suit rushed in. He stopped when he saw me. "Hello, Sonny," he said. "I'm Al Anderson, Star's dad." I stood and we shook hands, and he wrapped his arms around me and he gave me a hug. "Except for hair color," Mrs. Anderson said. "She's a mirror image of Star." "She is not," Star declared. "How can you say that? She doesn't look anything like me. We probably aren't even related. Where's the proof?" "She has the picture of you two with your grandmother," Mrs. Anderson pointed out. "Well, that doesn't prove anything. Anyone could find an old photograph and pretend it was their own. She's probably an imposter who wants our money." "Calm down, Star," Mr. Anderson said. I couldn't believe how angry Star was. I understood why she felt deceived at not knowing about me, but she must realize the secret had been kept with the best of intentions. If anyone had a right to be angry, it was me. Here the Andersons were, and they seemed like nice people, and they wanted to adopt me. But instead, I was living with she-who and boss of the world. I could have been here with Star all those years. I could have been loved. But what bothered me the most, though, was Star apparently didn't remember me. How could she forget the experiences I cherished? "If you're my sister," Star said, "prove it." Our grandma was Loretta Skyland, and our mom was Marie Skyland. "Oh, you could have learned that from a public record or from an old obituary notice," Star said. "Tell me something that isn't available in print or online." "We used to play house," I told her. We had a white wicker doll buggies, and we pretended our dolls were twins, the same as us. Oh, I remember those buggies, Mrs. Anderson said. Loretta used to let you push them around the neighborhood, and she sat on the porch and watched. Star's expression changed, and I suspected she remembered the doll buggies. Do you remember our song? I asked, and I sang, Twinkie, Twinkie, Little Star. It's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, not Twinkie, Twinkie. Not in our version. I stared at Star. You don't remember eating Twinkies and watching the stars come out? No. You were in lawn chairs in the backyard. I was in Grandma's lap and you were in Mama's. We had blankets tucked around us, and I remember feeling snug and safe. Again, I thought I saw a flicker of remembrance in Star's eyes. I ate my Twinkie while Mama sang Twinkie, Twinkie, Little Star. I don't like Twinkies, Star said. They're too sweet. You don't remember any of it? No. I'm not convinced you do either. Maybe you're making all this stuff up. I felt as if a dark shade had been pulled across the sky, blocking out the sun. Star didn't remember me. She didn't remember the Twinkies or the song or playing together. She didn't remember having a sister. What's more, she didn't want to remember. How can you forget your twin sister? I whispered. I was only 3, Star said. But so was I. And that's the end of the chapter today. We will read chapter 17, and I will put that online sometime tomorrow. All right, see you all later.